What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS podcast and live stream for Wednesday's 7-game main slate. James, my guy here, midweek, 7-gamer on a Wednesday. Pretty solid slate in terms of matchups. Who's playing on this slate, though, once again, as we head towards the end of the regular NBA season, seems to be in question. You and I talked about it the other day. Next year, the league or the NBA and NBA PL are working on like a minimums game played requirement to be qualified for these major awards. And at first, I was thinking, oh, that's a good thing. Those who care about that will probably be forced to play more games. And then I started thinking about that time Draymond Green entered the game just for the tip and then sat for the remainder of the game and was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what Kawhi Leonard's probably going to do. Going to be in these games in the starting lineup, be out there for 3 minutes, first whistle subbed out, doesn't play again. So seeing guys like Kyrie Irving, Donovan Mitchell, Luke is obviously hurt, John Morant's in rehab, those guys, you can't always help it, but there are plenty of players that we've seen rested lately as we head down the stretch here. It'll be interesting to see what moves forward here. Anthony Davis already ruled out for tonight's game. They obviously played last night. They got Houston here. Kyrie Irving continues to be questionable. Donovan Mitchell didn't play last night rather, ahead of that front end of the back-to-back. We'll see what happens with the rest of this slate, obviously, but frustrating when players who we think are going to be in all day end up being ruled out last moment.
Yeah, and I guess we should probably, moving forward and into next year, just monitor who's on back-to-backs. And maybe the NBA will adjust how their schedule is going to play out with back-to-backs too. Maybe
it's not even the second legs anymore. It's either end of a back-to-back.
Yeah, if there is a back-to-back, there is a chance that you are sitting on one of the two.
Right.
I feel like last night was just a rest spot for Donovan Mitchell, considering it's Charlotte, and then the next night you have to travel back home to take on Philly in a nationally televised setting in a very meaningful game. When you look at the standings, Philly is third, Cleveland is fourth, right? So Cleveland can gain a full game here on Philly winning this game. Right. So I think that's something to consider. Cleveland is on a back-to-back, and one back-to-back is Charlotte. The other one is Philly. I wonder what game, someone's going to rest in versus. Right. So it's something to consider too.
And they have Karis LeVert. They don't need him anyway, so
True. I mean, why use Darius Garland in DFS when you can use Karis LeVert, right? Or why use anyone and just use Karis LeVert? He's the best player on the planet. So yeah, I mean, it is frustrating. John, just to update everyone, the injury streak continued last night with Eugene Amiyuri leaving the game.
Yeah.
So that continued about 2 weeks, right? I think it's been
we're going on. Going.
This has been the longest stretch I've ever had in my life of
just guys getting hurt right away. Yeah.
It's just he did.
I went through a 2-week span of PGA withdrawals where guys were withdrawing from tournaments. So, rare that happens, and I had it back-to-back weeks. So
that's brutal. Remember that happened to me. The one I told you.
Yeah, Benny Allen drew for you, but it was for good reason. He was his wife was in labor. So
okay. Well then, good.
Nothing you can really do about that one.
No, that's but that's just my luck right now. That's spanning. That's where it all started. Truthfully, that's where it all started. It all started in the withdrawal, and it's continued. But tonight's slate, as long as status quo, who's on a back-to-back? Cleveland, the Lakers, the Spurs, right? Those are our three back-to-backs.
Yeah, Spurs on a back-to-back.
Great. I'm so excited for the Spurs on a back-to-back. That sounds so fun. Yeah. There's a lot of incredibly enticing stuff in Vegas tonight. Cleveland, Philly is not one of them. That's probably the best real-life basketball game we have tonight. And by probably, I mean that probably, that is the best real-life basketball game we have tonight. But 222 in that game, Cleveland getting 2.5 at home. Miami giving 4 to Memphis, 220.5.
We have Clippers Golden State on the slate, guy.
That's true. Clippers Golden State, very good. It's just
Western Conference Finals preview. Possibly.
I am not as sold on Golden State this year as I was in years past. And maybe it's because Draymond punched out one of his teammates and they don't have the same chemistry as they did. But it doesn't seem like even when they're – and plus Golden State's on the road, so we know how that story's going to go.
Sure.
I mean, look, there's a lot of – so we'll rattle through the rest of them. 236.5 in Chicago, Sacramento. Chicago opened as a favorite. Everybody hates Sacramento. This is crazy. Chicago opened as a favorite. They're now +1. I would probably bet that pretty heavily in favor of Sacramento. The Lakers, despite not having Anthony Davis and LeBron James in a 230.5 total, they are still 3-point favorites in Houston. Boston, Minnesota is a very appealing game. Too bad we don't have Gordon Hayward on the Celtics, but we do have Boston in Minnesota, 233.5.
And we have Jaylen Brown coming off of a monster game. So.
And we have Jaylen Brown, who always follows up a bad game with a good game. It's like just if you go through his box scores, it's like
43 actual against Houston.
And that was a really competitive game. Good for
Rockets. Houston. Yeah.
Good for the Rockets. Boston 5-point favorites in Minnesota. Dallas 6-point favorites in San Antonio. I know San Antonio's bad, but man, that tells me, like, I don't know. I think that suggests Kyrie's going to play because Tim Hardaway and Christian Wood are also questionable for Dallas. So you're telling me that Dallas without Kyrie is favorites in San Antonio with Josh Green and Jaden Hardy leading the charge? Yeah. I don't know.
I mean,
6-point favorites?
Jaden Hardy is a stud.
Well, yes.
So.
Well, yes. Well, that's, yeah. I mean, that's, yeah.
I mean, Vassell didn't play last night. Do you think Keldon Johnson didn't play last night. Brandon was out. Trey Jones was out. I mean, if they're down to the lineup they had last night again, and maybe Vassell sits on a back-to-back here.
Yep. So that's what I think's going to happen. I think Keldon plays, Vassell sits.
Okay.
I don't know about the rest of the team because Branham got hurt the other day.
Right.
Like, he legitimately got hurt, left the game. We know Bassey's out for the year. Trey Jones has been dealing with an illness, so like he could return at any point. We just don't know. But I do think Vassell sits on the back-to-back. I don't think he's played. He hasn't played in a back-to-back since returning. So, and I think Keldon returns. Either way, that's either suggesting Kyrie's playing or Keldon and Vassell are going to be ruled out for the Spurs. That's what Vegas is predicting by 6-point favorites for Dallas. And then in the late night hammer, 10 o'clock, an hour and a half after every other game, you mentioned Clippers Warriors, 236 total. Clippers 2-point favorites. Warriors this year, John, 7-26 on the road. So, as it currently stands, the Golden State Warriors are the 5 seed. So they will be traveling essentially in every series they have to play right now. They'll have more road games than home games. So just going to throw that out there for a potential postseason run the Golden State Warriors will have to go on. 7-26 on the road. That is actually as bad as it gets. You know who has they're only half a game better than the Detroit Pistons on the road.
Really?
That's when you know it's bad. Half a game better than the Pistons. Detroit Pistons are 7-27 on the road. Golden State is 7-26.
Interesting. It's kind of wild, isn't it?
If you want, it's almost if you want free money, you would just take the Clippers money line tonight.
Yeah, but I don't hate
this
that.
is not a betting podcast. This is a DFS podcast. But if we were a betting podcast,
we can talk. We talk some betting. That's fine. We talk Vegas totals all the time.
Clippers money line would feel pretty good going into the night, huh?
Yeah, probably. All right, let's get into it here. We'll start off at the point guard spot. Again, guys are out. Luke is out. Kyrie questionable. Ja Morant out. We know. Steph Curry's at 10-5 against Clippers. We just talked about. Not really good at home. Not really good on the road. James Harden at $9,700. We've been loving ourselves some Harden. And now we're still getting him under 10K. He was over 10K for a little bit. Under 10K here now against Cleveland. Went for 47 fantasy points and a double-double against Cleveland earlier this season. We have De'Aaron Fox at 89. D'Angelo Russell, though, at $7,700
Yeah.
with no Anthony Davis. Going to be into probably a lot of lineups
Yeah.
here tonight. I think, you can play multiple guards. We talk about it every night. But when we get down to the mid-tier once again here, it just feels like there's just some really smash guard play. Where if you want to play Curry, if you want to play Harden, sure, go ahead. Obviously, if Kyrie is active and by himself here against San Antonio, great play at 10-2. But D'Angelo Russell at $7,700 feels just like a plug and play for me.
Yep, I agree fully. That's exactly how I'd look at it. I think Kyrie would probably be my top spend up if he plays, considering it's the Spurs. And I don't think he'd be on a limit. He's only been out for a week. But yeah, I think D'Angelo Russell stands out. He's been great. Last night, he wasn't really needed because Anthony Davis and Malik Beasley took over the game. But no Anthony Davis, no LeBron. We know Westbrook is traded. 17 minutes this year. That's the sample that we have without LeBron and Davis for D'Angelo Russell. So not a big sample. 1.48 fantasy points per minute, 23% usage. Big numbers for Russell. It's a lock and load play. You can play him in multiple positions. It's a great spot against a terrible defense. Everything's pointing to D'Angelo Russell being one of, if not the most popular play of the slate.
Yep. We'll go down a little bit further into this range. We've been playing a lot of Tyler Hero lately. A little tongue twister there. We expected more out of him in that matchup against Utah. Jimmy Butler had a big game. But here he has Memphis, $6,900. I think this is a good spot for him, if you want to go there. I know Kyle Lowry came back and played off the bench there. Not that has too much of an issue there.
Dude, do you see how many minutes he's playing off the bench? It is crazy. He didn't play it against Utah.
Yeah.
He came back and they were just like, here, Kyle Lowry, play 36 minutes.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I know he's coming off the bench, but I still think Hero's fine at 69. Westbrook at $6,900. I think it's a good price. I think Schroeder, even next to D'Angelo Russell with no Anthony Davis tonight, could be in a good spot. Jaden Hardy, as we talked about, $5,500 if there's no Kyrie. Like, this is, again, a really good mid-tier group of guys for the line.
Yeah, and I don't want to exclude Kevin Porter out of that mix either, especially if Şengün's out. Şengün listed questionable again. Kevin Porter, 14 points, 13 assists, 6 rebounds against the Celtics, 38 minutes, 3 steals, 48.5 fantasy points. Lakers still playing super fast. I think they're second in pace. Maybe they're first ahead of the Warriors. Yeah, they're second, right behind the Warriors. So I would throw KPJ in that mix. Westbrook, I'm not probably as bullish as you. I mean, 23 minutes in each of the last 2 games is really hard to get to. And I was listening to something that Ty Lue was talking about this second half from the trade deadline on, they're just experimenting with lineups to figure out what is best going into the postseason. So
I guess I felt because he played 20 minutes against Golden State before. He didn't really have a great game in that one. No rebounds, kind of an oddity for him. But I thought maybe this would be a matchup, Western Conference potential playoffs, that he would see more run so they get an idea of what their lineup could look like against Golden State. But you could be right too. I mean, in the last 2 games against the Knicks and the Raptors, the minutes were not there for him.
Yeah, and it's not even like he's not like doing anything wrong in those games, and he's just not
He
playing.
played 36 and 34 minutes in 2 games prior, so like I don't know.
It's just hard to predict the minutes.
Sure.
Schroeder, I think, is fine. I would, 6,300 does feel a little pricey for a guy that we're not sure like what his minutes are going to be.
Sure.
I do like where Brogdon's at right now in terms of like, there's no Rob Williams and they're just playing smaller, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's just what they're doing right now. And
yeah, I mean, did they play Grant Williams the other day? We talked about it. Did he even get on the floor?
Grant Williams
he did 8 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going with they're getting Malcolm Brogdon his 6th Man of the Year award, and they don't care who knows it right now.
Yeah. Hauser played 20 minutes again. 3 straight games with 20 minutes for Hauser.
It's interesting. He's like just solidified himself over Grant Williams
Yeah,
now.
that's pretty much what's happened there. Did Muscala play at all? Nope, no minutes for Muscala.
But you're right. It's Hardy if Kyrie's out, like for sure. He's a bucket. But I do actually think Brogdon's kind of like sneaky if he's gonna play. He's played 20 minutes in 3 of the last 4 games. We know he's a bucket.
Listen,
So.
they're losing games. They need to do something here.
Right.
And he scored 20, 18 actually against Minnesota the last. He's got Minnesota here tonight, so that's fine. We know Smart's going to play minutes. Smart's been terrible down the stretch, and he fouled out of that game against Houston as well. So could maybe see Brogdon start playing over Smart a little bit more as well. Certainly possible to have that happen. Devontae Graham is $5,300. Obviously, if there's nobody there for San Antonio, he's in play for us tonight. Anybody else down here? Like, would you play Lowry if active here? Questionable tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know what Miami's rotations. It just feels like another thing they're experimenting with because, like, Lowry played 36 minutes and 19 minutes. Gabe Vincent played 37 minutes and 27 minutes. I don't know what they're doing. Like, I don't know how to. I don't really know how to assess their situation. Blake Wesley played another 23 minutes. He split time with Devontae
he got
Graham.
such a hot start last night, and I had him at like 1% rostered on FanDuel, and then he just like didn't really play much after that. Like
Him and Graham, looking at it, him and Graham in a 48-minute split. Graham played 25, Wesley played 23. So
I know they won 132 to 114 there, so maybe a little bit of an issue to deal with in that aspect.
yeah, but then Wesley, you don't think? I feel like if anything, Wesley should have benefited from that. Like Wesley shouldn't have been on the floor in a blowout. So, like if we get Branham and Trey Jones out again, like we know what the Spurs point guard split's going to be.
Yep, I agree. All right, shooting guard. Up at the top here, Anthony Edwards at 94 against Boston. He had 55 fantasy points for the second straight game there, 53 and 55. Again, we talk about it all the time, but we don't like the price. But he's playing a lot better lately. The steals and blocks are there.
Tournaments,
exactly.
Fight for tournaments.
Yep. Would you play Donovan Mitchell at 93 if he's active?
Tournaments.
Jaylen Brown?
Yep.
Tournaments.
Yep.
Paul George at 88.
All formats.
Zach LaVine at 86.
Probably all formats.
54,
considering
46, 55.
how good he's been. Yeah, considering how good he's been lately. All the shots are there. I mean, Sacramento is absolutely garbage defensively.
Yep.
They are just better than everyone else offensively. So I would play LaVine, yeah.
Okay. Are we chasing Klay Thompson 8 for 14 3?
Dude, like this is what he can always do, right? Like he gets hot early and it just never stops. Like he's just a flamethrower. So I don't think so, but like I don't have a problem getting to him in tournaments.
Sure. Jalen Green, another guy who will play in tournaments. He had 44 fantasy points the other day. Like I was liking that duo there. Yep. There is no injury destination currently on Vassell. Last night only 27 fantasy points, 33 minutes. Again, I mean, I haven't been thrilled with how he's looked really coming off of his injury. I don't think the price is worth a $500 bump.
No, I don't understand that bump at all.
I'm not really in on that. Any other guys down here in the mid tier for shooting guard for you? Austin Reeves, maybe.
Yeah, Austin Reeves. Beasley went crazy yesterday. Both those guys, I think, are fine. If Mitchell does sit out, which I don't think he's going to, obviously we're going to go to Karis LeVert, who broke the slate yesterday. You can always take a shot on one of the Sacramento guys. Good luck guessing who it's going to be, but we know that there's like a ceiling on all of them when their shots are falling. Let's see, any 3K guys? Wesley's there. I don't think there's any 3K guys.
Yeah.
But obviously that could change.
Sure. Small forward then, JT, up to 11K. 67 fantasy points against Atlanta. Struggles against Houston of all teams, 8 of 22. Feels like a bounce back spot for him here. 30 actual against Minnesota earlier. They're coming off of a bad loss. Team's starting to get criticized a little bit. He's starting to get criticized a little bit as well in the local media, even though, they've had a great season. He's
an MVP candidate.
Yeah, they're running out down the stretch a bit here. So I think this could be a Tatum takeover game. Certainly is the right matchup. Small forwards versus, wings versus Minnesota has been kind of the attack spot all season long. So I think Tatum comes out firing here at 11K. But do we get to him? We'll find out when we build our lineups. Because Kawhi is at 9K. George is 88, as we talked about. Jimmy Butler, no price movement
I know.
on our guy Butler. We've been playing him now for a week. Has yet to let us down here. I'm going to run right back at 87. It's just too cheap of a price tag given the way he's been, the ceiling that he potentially has here. Kyle Anderson's bumped to 7K. I'm not going to play it, but he did triple double.
Dude, he was awesome. So I played him the other night. It didn't matter because I had 2 people get hurt. It just didn't matter. Literally didn't matter at all. But I had him at low ownership. They went up with 2 minutes left. He was a rebound shy of the triple double, and they hit a 3 to go up 22, and they kept him in the game to get the triple double.
Loved it.
He played the final minute of the game just to get that rebound, and he sure did.
Yeah, definitely did.
That's
so again, I'm not going to pay 7K for him. I'm $900 from the last slate, but
but
40 and 50 the last 2 games.
Dude.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Josh Green at 57, we're in on here.
Yeah, he, dude, I can't believe he had the game he had the other day because he had 2,000 a minute, and he had to check out.
Yeah,
he played no time in the first quarter, and then the rest is history.
Yep. Dylan Brooks, good game the other day. I don't know if I'm gonna chase that.
No, dude, please, I hate this. Yeah. This guy is a nightmare.
Another 35 minutes for Tyrese in there.
He started
because Şengün was out. So if no Şengün tonight, we'll play Tyrese at 53.
Yes. Yep. It was a Jalen Smith game, or Jabari Smith game. Sorry, but nothing wrong with 35 minutes. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, for sure. Other cheap small forwards for you today?
KJ Martin played 40 minutes in that Boston game. 40 minutes, 33 fantasy points. So if he's back to playing that type of run, I don't hate it.
Okay.
We know Bates Diop is going to play his 25 to 30 minutes. And then depending on who's in and who's out for the Spurs, that could, rise a little bit closer to 30. Your boy, Jaden McDaniels, he's steady. I think he lost out some time on some foul trouble. And so I think he's fine.
30 minutes for Harry Barnes.
Another 30 minutes. He's back to white bread Harry B.
Yeah.
Right? It's just he just is what he is at this point. Where is Chetty? Chetty had a huge game yesterday.
Dude, I'm so upset about that because I was very close to playing him with Donovan Mitchell out of the lineup, and I didn't pull the trigger on him.
I'm usually there too, and he has just let me down so much. I didn't play him, but he does have good numbers without people. So if Mitchell were to sit, I would in tournaments take a shot on Chetty.
My thinking there was it just changes their rotation around. They were already down Allen, now they're down Mitchell. Levert's in the starting lineup, Stevens in the starting lineup.
Chetty he has all the second unit. Yeah, he has the second unit
to play more. He plays 30 minutes and just destroys. David Roddy got more minutes again as a blowout in that game, but
he got minutes again, huh?
Yeah, 28 minutes. Yeah, but it was a blowout, but still something to.
Well, it wasn't. That game became a blowout. Dallas was winning, and then they just fell apart in the second half. It wasn't a blowout. Let me popcorn machine that
and see where he got his minutes.
Yeah, because
he's a first round pick of theirs this year. So
yep. So David Roddy played 10 minutes in the first half. Yeah, he played 10 minutes in the first half, and then he was in playing with Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, Tyus Jones, Dylan Brooks.
Okay.
In the second half, so he checked in 6 minutes into the second half. He was the second sub. Santi Aldama was the first sub, and then didn't check out until the 4-minute mark. He didn't even get the garbage shot. He didn't even get the garbage run.
So I don't know. 10 of 13 and 8 of 11 shooting the last 2 games. Both of them against Dallas here. Obviously Miami a tougher matchup, but $3,800 dart throw play today on this slate maybe.
Yeah, look, the 3 dart throws in a row right here.
McDermott,
Roddy, McDermott, Lamar Stevens, all gonna play the same amount of minutes probably, and McDermott's been really good, and Roddy's been really good, and Lamar Stevens is just Lamar Stevens. So all three dart throws right there.
I'm with you. Kessa Edwards played 18 minutes in that game against
Again. He's just in the rotation.
Didn't hit any shots though. One fantasy point in that game in 18 minutes. All right, power forward. We've talked about Tatum and Leonard already. DeRozan down to 83. Price keeps dumping on this guy. Back-to-back 40 fantasy point games, though.
Yep. Playoff mode. DeRozan peaked and saw, we're in the 10 seed right now. Now Washington won last night, so they're... Yeah. But a win tonight gets them back into the 10 seed, baby! Yeah. Him and Levine have both been playing well. They've won 2 games in a row. I don't think that's like a coincidence, So, look, Sacramento is terrible defensively. They are horrible. They're going to not defend anybody. So I don't have a problem playing Bulls because that's just what Sacramento is. Now Bulls, literally their big 3 because you can't really trust anything else. But yeah, DeRozan's fine.
3 straight double-doubles for Jabari. Doesn't have to deal with Anthony Davis tonight. 24 and 11. Awesome. The other night here, hitting his threes.
He's been awesome.
He's been great. $6,800. I'm in. I'm a
fan. So I guess, would you play 6,800 Jabari, even if Şengün plays?
He was playing well next to Şengün.
Yeah, that's true. So, I'm a little hesitant, but you are not wrong. You are 100% correct. He had been playing well against Şengün. This is a price that we're not used to.
The rebounds for the past month have actually been really good for him as well. Yeah. Starting at 210, 8, 12, 9, 9, 8, then 6, 6, had a 2 rebound game against San Antonio, then 8, 12, 10, 11. He's been pulling down some boards lately, so aggressive on the glass there is good to see. Draymond's at 61. Any interest?
That's pretty cheap, man. Yeah. That's cheap. That's really, really cheap.
Gotta hit some shots for us, but everything else has been on point.
You know what though? 2 for 10 against Milwaukee, you live with that. That's a win. 10 shots against Milwaukee, that's a win, dude. Yeah.
Do we get Chalk Vanderbilt tonight? No AD.
So here's what I'm thinking. So I have the popcorn machine up from the last time AD sat. That was on the 1st of the month.
Okay.
And it was a little different because they had Mo Bamba. Okay. No Mo Bamba. So here's what I think they're gonna do. Here's the starting lineup that I would project. I would project Russell, Beasley, Troy Brown, Hachimura, Vanderbilt. That would be my guess at the starting lineup. I don't think they would want to start Wayne Gabriel, but they've been running these double bigs out, right? Instead of doing LeBron. When they have LeBron, they could just use him at power forward. Mm-hmm. I think they start Vanderbilt, Hachimura. So look, we know what Vanderbilt is. He's a very low floor guy that has a lot of rebound and block and steal upside. So I guess not block, but steal upside. He can stumble into double-digit points because he's so active on the glass. So I don't know. 5,900 is whatever. I think Hachimura, if he's starting, is a better value. Obviously, just given the price, he's $1,400 cheaper. And I think Wayne Gabriel's a fine value as well. Okay. Wayne Gabriel in that game. So Vanderbilt played 22 minutes, which is obviously a little concerning. I think he was super chalk. That was a super chalk night. Hachimura played 27 off the bench and Gabriel played 22 off the bench. So the minutes distribution went Hachimura, Gabriel, Vanderbilt for the bigs. And Mo Bamba played 22 minutes as well. So I think, and all 3 are power forwards. You could probably play any of them. Trey Brown is a power forward as well. You could probably play literally all 4 of these guys. I think Hachimura is probably my favorite. Honestly, I kind of like Wayne Gabriel in tournaments because he's kind of a good fantasy producer. And I just don't know if I'm going to get to a lot of Vanderbilt at 5,900, especially if he's getting ownership. What's the upside to getting Vanderbilt at 59? He needs 30. He needs 30 fantasy points for 5x. It's so tough. Like I know
he's had ceiling games before. Obviously,
he has
15.17 rebounds, 4 steals back against Dallas on the 26th.
You're not wrong, but like, how would you like? How do you
I agree.
how do you break down like how do you break it down? Like, do you see like?
I mean, I would rather trust whoever's starting versus who we think is going to come off the bench. And
so I think it's Hachimura Vanderbilt. That would be my assumption. Their starting front.
Okay, that's who I would probably go with then. I don't know if I would risk Wayne Gabriel playing 20 minutes, hoping he plays more. They could throw a while. Like, who knows? Austin Reeves could play 35 minutes, and they just play small ball, right? Like, especially if there's no Şengün. It's not like Houston's throwing a large lineup out there. Tari Easton's 6'6".
He's a small bully. He's a small bully.
Yeah. So, Sochan last night smashed. I don't know if he'll do it again if Keldon's active, but love what we got out of him in the last couple of games now for Jeremy Sochan.
It was always about the development of the offense, right? Yeah. Like he could do everything else.
And Dallas, obviously, not a great defensive team in their front court.
So. Yeah, they're so bad. They traded their best wing defender in Dorian Finney-Smith. Like,
yep. All right. Any other value power forwards down here?
Let's see. All the Lakers guys we mentioned. If you think Jaren Jackson's going to get in foul trouble, Santi Aldama's there.
Yeah. I mean, he's good for 20, 25 minutes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's good for like 20 to 25, and then if Jackson gets in foul trouble, he could play 30, right? Like that's you know who's been playing a lot, John? Our boy Trey Lyles, who we talked about like 6 years ago when he was on the Nuggets playing 20 minutes a game, is playing 20 minutes a game again.
Yeah, and giving
Look at this production, dude. I know. He has been so good.
Why this man can't find himself an everyday job?
I don't know. But like, Trey Lyles, I think you could probably do worse than Trey Lyles.
Sure. Definitely could do worse than Trey Lyles. I don't know what to make of Dallas because they're so banged up. Like, you could play Maxi Kleber, you could play Reggie Bullock. Like, there's obviously super low floors. Yeah.
But possibly no Hardaway, possibly no Kyrie, possibly no Christian Wood. Like, we already know there's no Luka. Like, they don't really have able bodies. Like, we know Reggie Bullock's going to play 30 minutes, and it's San Antonio. So, like, the Spurs guys. But
Reggie Bullock at one point was a shooting guard. Now he's all the way up to power forward. So.
Well, that's just where, that's just the life we live when they trade away every forward they have, and like we're left with Reggie Bullock.
All right, center position here, Joe Embiid. We didn't talk about Mobley. Would you play Mobley against Embiid here? Or would you play Embiid versus Mobley?
I would probably play both. Like, I don't like. Obviously, Embiid they're both so good defensively, and we talk about it all the time though. Like, if Embiid gets going, it does not matter who's on the other side of the floor. Like, it just does not. It just does not matter. And conversely, Mobley would have gone for 50 last night if that doesn't blow out.
Yeah.
Like, he
got off to a slow start in that game.
Horrible start, and then just took over in the second and the third quarters. I would probably play them both. Like, I don't think either of them are priorities. Like, Sabonis is a great play here against the Bulls.
Triple doubles in 3 of the last 4.
Yeah, and honestly, on the other side, Vucevic is a really good play against Sabonis too. So like, I like both those guys better.
This feels like a spot for Bam again, just given who Memphis is putting at center. But I mean, like,
dude, he is so hard.
Ever since, he just hasn't been great, right? Like, I don't know what's going on here.
It's Jimmy. Isn't it just Jimmy? Like, Jimmy's
he's not
just
even
like doing
rebounding
everything
anymore. Is that like Kevin Love's 20 minutes taking away his rebounds? Like, what's?
I don't know. I there's nothing to like necessarily point to because like even when you look through everything, like Caleb Martin 2 rebounds last game. Tyler Hero averaging 6 rebounds a game. Like, that's. I mean, I guess it's never good.
Him versus Xavier Tillman should lean Bam, but I mean, I don't know. $7,900.
I would rather just like pay $6,500 for Zach Collins.
Yeah, Zach Collins smashed last night.
who's apparently just, like you said yesterday, I'll
Portland's
just
probably
repeat.
looking over being like, we kept the wrong guy.
I was literally gonna repeat exactly what you said yesterday and say Portland's regretting that decision
I mean,
mightily. They don't even play Nurkic anymore.
I mean, Zach Collins has been great. Again, great guy on a bad team. Love these players, right? Just,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
6,500 is too cheap, especially given that matchup against Dallas. As we mentioned, Tillman's at 56. Should get decent minutes here. A tough matchup for him.
Yep.
Zubac at 53, playing 27 minutes back-to-back games to get there against Golden State.
This is the 18-minute game. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Yep.
You tell me when he's going to play 27. If you could predict that he's going to play 27, then I'd have it.
I can't predict anything. Just like I can't predict whenever Kevin Looney's going to play. I mean, 36.
He started last game.
I know,
dude.
Kevin Looney, if he's going to play 25 minutes, he's probably locked in for at least 10 rebounds. The assists the last two games, 4 and 5. Like, 5 steals, obviously an anomaly against Milwaukee, but like he can give you 1 and 1 like he did against Phoenix.
Yep.
There's probably no reason that every single night Kevin Looney can't give us his Phoenix stat line. 9, 10, 5, 1 and 1. Like that.
Dude, you look at this matchup and you just think like, all right, Zubats Plumlee has to play 28 minutes, right? It's not gonna happen. Like it could happen here. This feels like a spot he's gonna play 20 minutes, but he's averaged 22 minutes a game against them.
I know.
Why? He played 25 the last time. So okay, here you go. The last two matchups against the Clippers, 25 and 27 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the first time? What an anomaly. He played 17 minutes in November. So at least the last two times we do have a good sample of him playing 25.
And he's almost double. He's had double-digit points in both, which is, scoring's not generally his calling card.
Right.
He fell 2 rebounds shy of the double-double, but in that Clippers game, the last time, he had the double-double in the Clippers game the first time. Yeah, I always come on here and talk about Kevin Looney, and you're just like, like he's fine. You don't know, but like he has a wild rebound ceiling.
No, dude, it's not that I don't like think that he's good. I just don't understand why they don't play him more.
No, I agree.
I could just never. It's just one of those situations that's so fluid, and you just don't know when these guys are going to play big minutes or when they're going to not play at all.
I feel like in most slates, if you gave me a slate that had Kevin Looney and you were like, list down the top 5 like rebound leaders of the night, like Kevin Looney's, I'm gonna put like 1 or 2,
correct,
most games, right? Like he's just out there and just boards his life away there. So 5,300 for him. You mentioned Hachimura at 45. If he's in the starting lineup, I think you can certainly test those waters there. But there's nothing else for me. Well, I mean, I know it was a blowout aided, but Luka Garza had just, if there's no Naz Reid here, like, I don't know. Like,
well, Gobert's questionable too.
Right? Like.
Okay, but here's the scenario, okay? This is a Charlotte situation we have on hand. Do you know why that is? Because they could pull a Nathan Knight.
Is Nathan Knight out here still? Yeah.
Dude, this is another one of those like situations where you think that it's going to be Mark Williams, but it's Nick Richards. You think Nick Richards played the last game, and it's Mark Williams. If both Gobert and Naz Reid sit, I'm probably just playing the starter. And, Luka Garza had the backup run last game, had the backup run the game before.
Yeah.
Nathan Knight also played last game and was playing in February. So, like, it's just another one of the situations. Like, why do you have 4 centers on your roster?
Because Naz Reid was out for that game against Atlanta.
Right. And then Garza played the backup. But then Nathan Knight got garbage run. Right. But, like, it's just so frustrating that we might be going into the slate. It's an 8 o'clock game. We don't know which Minnesota center is going to be active.
Right.
And then you have to deal with, all right, well, who's going to be the backup? Because Garza was, like you said, incredibly productive in a backup role.
He was the college player of the year.
Right. The Minnesota backup center, whoever it is just going to be incredibly productive, like at all times. That's just how it's been all year.
Right.
Like whoever the backup center is productive, but we just don't know.
Luka Garza's got a couple of 30. Look at this. I didn't even remember this run. 2-3, 2-7, 2-8. 27, 32, and 34 fantasy points for a 3-game stretch for Luka Garza this year. I don't remember that happening. Happened 2 weeks ago. Happened a month ago. I don't remember that happening.
Yeah, that had to be when Gobert was out.
And,
That you know what it
Nasrid was out, I would guess?
No, that was Gobert questionable.
They did lose by 30 in both of those games, but still, the man got on the floor and just played.
I bet you if you look, those are the Nasrid smash spot starts where he gets in foul trouble. That happened like 7 straight slates, and I just kept coming on the spot and be like, yeah, I'm gonna play Nasrid, and you're like, and I'm like, no, he's a great value, and then he just kept getting in foul trouble, and it's like, oh.
Well, we had 3 straight 10x days from Luka Garza in early February that I don't even remember it happened. So
shout out.
So yeah, all right.
Wait. I'm gonna give a shout out to Sandro, my boy Sandro Mamukashvili. Mamukashvili.
Hey, 21.
Here, I got
21 minutes. Yeah.
And we know Bassey's out. Yep. So like,
sure.
20 fantasy points. He shoots threes.
Yeah. He broke a slate last year, didn't he?
He broke a slate a bunch of times with Milwaukee at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I'm in. Against San Antonio too, like
30.
Against
Dallas,
against Dallas,
$3,100.
I'm in. Sold.
Okay.
All right, build. Who's the number one guy? Oh, Russell probably, right? D'Angelo.
Yeah.
Okay, got D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah.
Give me our spend up. Who's our spend up? There's not a lot of spend up options, I guess here. So like.
I went like to this. I went to like the low 9s, high
Kawhi?
8s range. Kawhi Butler or
you want to play both?
Kawhi
Let's play Kawhi and Butler. Small forward, power forward. Butler
I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Small forward, power forward.
Hachimura.
Okay.
4,500.
Hachi.
Like, I think he starts. That would be my guess.
Hey, he's got center eligibility here. So we got 5K to play. Shooting guard, forward, and util. I feel like we had another 3K that we liked, didn't we? Wasn't there another? Roddy was 38. Okay.
I'm not against Roddy because he's in the rotation.
36.
It's so hard to build a lineup not knowing who's playing for the Spurs.
I mean, we could just go the Makashvili at center for $3,100. Like, I'm fine. Or power.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to play. Right? Like, he is going to play. They don't play Zach. Like, Zach Collins was dominating.
Zach Collins also does get in foul trouble every once in a while.
He also does get in foul. Yeah, 4 fouls the other night. He had 2 early.
Yeah. All right, so if we play Mamu, move Hachimura to forward, we have basically $5,700 for shooting guard, and utility.
Shooting guard, utility. Well, the obvious answer, if Kyrie's out, is Shaden Hardy. That's the obvious answer.
Yeah. And I think he probably plays anyways, right? Because Tim Hardaway is down. Like,
no, well, Hardaway's questionable.
Well, if he's out, I'm saying, right?
If he's out, right.
We could play Green and Hardy. Just plug them both. Fits the spots.
They do. If Kyrie plays, are we playing either of those guys at their price tags?
Yeah, I mean, Green's fine. Green's fine.
Yeah,
because Green's not coming off the floor. Green's going to start next to Kyrie. So.
Yeah, that's true.
And Hardy think Kyrie's playing against San Antonio after missing 3 games. I don't see that happening.
This feels like a win in the bag. They're the 9 seed. If they lose, they're only half a game up on New Orleans and Utah. I don't know. As our
Twitter friend said the other day, there's no good time to actually post NBA DFS content, so we're just gonna roll with this one here, and if we have to adjust, then we have to adjust.
Okay.
Josh Green not being a shooting guard eligible is painful. $5,800 guard is what we got left over. Brogdon?
Yeah, I think Brogdon's could be in for a big night here.
Brogdon or Beasley? Maybe.
I like Brogdon. All right, I think Brogdon's in a good spot here.
All right, love it. All right, so we got Russell, Hardy, Butler, Leonard, Mamu Kashavelli. Yeah.
Machiavelli, that's Tupac.
Yeah, that's Tupac, yeah. Brogdon, Hachimura, Josh Green is the lineup. Any questions in the Discord? I'm on the playbook today, so yeah, a little preview of what you're going to see. Get us in there if you have any questions, and we will catch you guys later.